Thanks to the teachers, we know what happened before the shooting. Now we're going to find out what happened after the shooting. Here's what we're talking about today. We're back in the Abby Zwermer case today, and again, I need to go through a little bit of the backstory so some of the testimony today will make more sense. On January 6, 2023, while teaching first grade at Rich Neck Elementary School in Virginia, Ms. Zwermer was shot by a 6-year-old student who brought a 9mm semi automatic pistol to the school. The bullet first passed through her left hand, rupturing bones in her index finger and thumb. Then the bullet entered her chest, and some fragments remain lodged there between her heart and her spine. Her lung collapsed as a result of the chest wound. Authorities described her injuries as life-threatening initially. The first witness up was Amber Rulan, who is a detective with the Newport News Police Department.
What department do you work for?
I work for the Newport News Police Department.
How long have you been with Newport News?
I have been sworn since 2018.
And back in January of 2023, were you with Newport News Police Department then?
Yes.
And what was your role then?
I was assigned as a uniform patrol officer.
And on January 6, 2023, did you respond to Rich Neck Elementary School?
I did.
At the time, January 6, 2023, were you wearing a body-worn camera?
I was.
And was it activated when you responded to Rich Neck Elementary School?
It was.
And if I showed you footage from that, would you recognize it?
Yes.
Okay. If we could go ahead and show clip 110A. And Your Honor, I'd move the clip 110A, which is already subject to argument, into evidence at this time.
Okay. Based on the court's pretrial rulings, your continuing objection, I am going to allow it. Yes.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
You may.
For whatever reason, the body cam film images did not come up on the stream. We just got to watch Amber watch the video. You can find that online if you want to go look for it. I don't think it's particularly interesting in terms of the actual legal issues in the case, but they asked her a few questions about the body camera, and to be honest, this was not a particularly helpful witness, but she certainly didn't hurt them.
When she expressed her age at 25 years old and it was faint, did that tell you anything in terms of your observations and what you were doing to take care of Miss Werner about her potential injuries?
So I'm not a medical professional, so I'm unable to advise you if that meant anything for her medically. I did observe the injury to her chest, and there was the cloth covering the injury to her hand. I did not observe an exit wound, which is what I was checking for prior to the medics arriving.
And is that why you had rolled her over at one?
Yes.
Understood. Thank you. Soon hereafter, the medics did arrive. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then when the medics arrived, you all took additional steps and actions at that time.
She was loaded onto the stretcher by the medics, and she was put into an ambulance where she was transported to Riverside Regional Medical Hospital.
They played a little bit more body camera footage and then finished the examination this way.
Detective Rulan, we just observed the loading that you just discussed. Can you walk us through what happens from this point in time once she's loaded on the, tell me the correct name for it.
It's either an ambulance or, as we call it, a medic. She was put into the medic by the medics and staff, and then I, as a law enforcement officer, got into the back of the medic and rode with her to Riverside Regional, where I remained with her until I was released.
And when you say released, really, you walked her into Riverside?
I walked with her in her stretcher to the trauma bay and to the subsequent room that she was put into. So wherever she went, I went.
And during the medic ride or the ambulance ride, did you observe her being provided treatment by the medics?
Yes.
And what, if anything, do you recall during those moments?
I don't recall exactly what they provided her medically.
I understand. Thank you very much for your time. Those are all the questions I have.
All right. Any cross-examination?
Nothing from defense, Judge. Thank you.
There isn't really any way for the defense to put any words into the mouth of this witness. She's not relevant on the issues of liability. And so for that reason, he doesn't cross-examine her. And we move on to the next witness, who was also law enforcement. That was Officer Blythe. And his testimony was a little bit more interesting, and he clearly had an interaction with Amy Kovac and apparently thought pretty highly of her just based on the way he testified.
Good morning.
Could you go ahead and state your full name for the court reporter?
Thomas Arthur Blythe.
And Mr. Blythe is a Corporal Blythe?
Retired, yes.
And retired from what department?
Newport News Sheriff's Office.
And were you active in January of 2023?
I was.
And on January 6, 2023, did you respond to Rich Neck Elementary School?
I did.
So can we start by, do you recall how you first heard of a call for a response? And I don't need to know what was said, just how you first heard of the call to respond to Rich Neck Elementary.
Came over the radio.
And where were you in time and space in relation to Rich Neck when you received that call?
I was about a 5 to 6 minute drive, maybe, with lights and siren going.
And when you arrived at Rich Neck Elementary, were you first, second, third in terms of first responders on scene? What were your observations?
I was technically first. Deputy Briggs was maybe 20, 30 seconds behind me.
And when you first arrived at Rich Neck, talk us through what you did in that moment.
We immediately went to the front door of the school, hit the buzzer, knocked on the doors, couldn't get in. Didn't see anybody moving around. Not what we expected to be responding to a situation like this. It seemed like an eternity for us was probably about a minute of banging on the door till I think a janitor or a security person opened the door for us.
When you're in charge of a school, you should know how to respond to emergencies, and whether you have a medical problem or, in this case, a gun violence problem, you have to know how to get the police into your school because it will have been locked down at that point. So you should have stationed somebody at the front door to admit the police when they came, and that didn't happen. It shows a lack of leadership on the part of the person who should have been orchestrating the response here at the school. That would fall on Dr. Parker, in my opinion.
And when you walked into Rich Neck Elementary, were you being provided guidance from anybody on where to go? In other words, how did you know where to
We just
respond?
headed down the hallway. We naturally gravitated towards the office. I think there were some people in the doorway. We stopped briefly, looked into the office, saw there was a woman on the floor. Some people were attending to her. And then myself and at least the other 2 police officers, and I think Deputy Briggs was with us, headed down the hallway because we were trying to find out where the person with the gun was.
And have you now come to know that you were walking into room 11 or classroom 11?
Yes.
Corporal, can you walk us through what happened as you walked through this door, room 11?
As we stepped through the door,
Can I give you a little bit of, not legal advice, but a little bit of legal advice? Refrain from saying what you heard people say, but really just your observations, if that's okay.
stepped through the door, and there was a young child attempting to be restrained by a woman. Later found out was Amy Kovac, the reading teacher. We were quite taken aback. We didn't expect to see so young a suspect. She said that she had control of him, that the gun was in the back of the classroom and pointed that way. I immediately headed in that direction. When I found the weapon on the floor, I called out that there was a gun, and I stood by.
Can I pause you there just to bring the jury along? If I can show you Exhibit 3C, which is Zorner 6726. Just to the witness and counsel. Yes. Do you recognize this photo?
Yes.
And is this a photo of the classroom, room 11, on January 6th?
Yes.
And can you see a firearm within the photo?
It's laying on the floor next to that chair.
All right. Your Honor, I'd move Exhibit 3C into evidence.
C is what we're doing.
C.
All right. Any objection? Without objection,
Permission to publish?
you may.
And we can sort of see that in the bottom left there.
They later showed close-up images of the gun, which turned out to be a Taurus. Take a look.
And that's a closer shot of the firearm. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So Your Honor, I'd move both what we'll call 6 or 3E and 3F, which were those last two photographs shown, into evidence.
All right. Any objection?
No objection.
All right. Without objection, permission to publish.
Permission to publish 3F, the most recent photograph.
Then it was time for cross-examination, and I think the defense attorney just really doesn't get it very well. This was the first part of his cross-examination. It's going to be followed by a long objection colloquy between the judge and the two lawyers, and we'll just cut to the end at that point so you know how it came out.
Counsel's asked you about your involvement in the investigation on the day of the shooting, correct?
Correct.
And you've mentioned that when you responded to Rich Neck Elementary School, you encountered some of the staff that worked there, right?
I encountered the janitor who opened the door. As we proceeded down the main hallway at the main T intersection there at the school, there was another janitor who said, "We have him."
Yes, sir.
And then we proceeded into the classroom, still trying to find the individual. And then we found Miss Kovac attempting to restrain the child.
And let's talk about Ms. Kovac. During your response and handling of the situation, you ended up speaking to Ms. Kovac later during your investigation. Do you recall that?
Yeah, well, I wasn't actually doing an investigation. When I spoke to Miss Kovac the second time, we had been sent to find a teacher and students that were supposedly hiding in a bathroom. In the process of that, I ran into Miss Kovac, I believe, outside the nurse's office.
And I'm going to show you a display. Brian, could you pull up D57A1, marked for the defense for identification? And Deputy Blythe, I'm going to ask you to look at your screen. I'm going to see if you recognize. This is D57A1. This should not be published to the jury at the stage, just to counsel. And let me ask you, Deputy Blythe, during the time that you responded to Rich Neck Elementary School, you were equipped with police body-worn camera.
Yes.
And it depicted the events of that day and your interactions with the folks that you talked to, right?
Yes.
Deputy Blythe, do you recognize, you can see on that image, this is police body-worn camera from the day of the incident, right? This is January 6, 2023. Okay, and is this a fair and accurate representation of the Rich Neck Elementary School as you were going through the hallways?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask permission to publish this to the jury.
Object, Your Honor.
So by the time you boil down exactly what it is that this attorney wants to get in, it has almost nothing to do with the deputy. It's an image from the body camera, and it's setting up his argument that she was not indifferent. Take a listen to what he tells the judge.
This is highly probative. First and foremost, I anticipate, and I will intend to elicit from Deputy Blythe, that when he's encountering these individuals, this is going to be the main office. This will be Dr. Parker's office, where you could see on the video, there is Dr. Parker present there. She's also there with Miss Amy Kovac and Miss Laura Harris. Those are three folks in the hall, three folks who are in the office, and it will show the layout of the office. I will ask Deputy Blythe about how when he enters the front entrance of that office, it clearly shows that Dr. Parker, her computer faces away from the front entrance. And in order to speak and interact with Deputy Blythe, she has to adjust and stand and sit perpendicular to him. That's salient to the issues in this case, Judge, because we've heard testimony in the course of yesterday and the day before that when Mr. Sims was in the main office, and also when other individuals went into the office, the way they perceived Dr. Parker was affected by how she was postured, how she interacted with them, and it will influence whether or not the jury has to decide whether or not she was indifferent, whether she did not respond. And this will account for the fact that she was working, that she was focused on her work. It's consistent with the defense theory that she was observing and diligently working. And that this is the layout of the office. This is the nature of it. Just because you come in and she doesn't turn and look at you does not reflect callousness and indifference.
He says it's highly probative. I don't think he understands what he has managed to convey here. Because as he points out, there's a woman laying on the floor, bleeding, in the office. And she's facing her computer and she has to turn to confront the deputy.
When he enters the front entrance of that office, it clearly shows that Dr. Parker, her computer faces away from the front entrance. And in order to speak and interact with Deputy Blythe, she has to adjust and stand and sit perpendicular to him.
If you're not up out of your chair, actively involved in making sure this lady gets taken care of, what you talk about indifference, this guy does not understand the term indifferent. You keep using that term indifferent. I don't think it means what you think it means, because clearly, if you are sitting and you have to turn to confront the deputy while all this hubbub is going on behind you and they're trying to keep this woman from dying on your floor, I don't know how better you could define the term indifferent. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here today. If you have the opportunity today, try to do one kind thing to help somebody else. Any kind thing will do. Buy somebody a Coke. Get them a cup of coffee. Anything that makes their day better. That would be a way to help make the world a better place. Because after all, isn't that what we're all after? Now, YouTube has a few things that they think you might be interested in, and they're going to be showing you that right up there.